Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and get right into this tutorial. This portion of the video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a star. Now, I will be using color red just as part of the instruction on how to make the star. But if you've seen the top at the beginning of this video, then you know that you will be making the star in white. So this is an American flag inspired top in honor of Memorial Day and Veterans Day that is approaching us soon. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, let's back up a little bit. I am using a 5mm crochet hook. I am also, so you guys don't really need to know well, I guess I can go ahead and show you guys all of the color yarn that I'm using just to get that part of the video out of the way. So for red, I am using 100% acrylic yarn by Mainstays. You can find this at your local Walmart. As I am telling you guys right now in this part of the video, I'm going to be making a star, but this star will not be a part of this top. This is just, I'm using this color to better show you guys how to do it on camera so it can pick up better on camera versus using the color white. Now for the color white, I am using anti-peel 100% acrylic yarn. You can find this also at your local Walmart. I really love the anti-peel yarn. This yarn, it doesn't have much fibers popping off of it. It's super soft. You can use this for like a baby blanket or anything. It's very affordable, and you can find that also at your local Walmart. And for my color blue, I am using Just Yarn by Premier Worsted Yarn. And this yarn can be found at your local Dollar Tree. So that is that, and I think I have went over everything in this video. So let's go ahead and get into making the star. Now for your star, you are going to begin by making a slip knot, and then you are going to proceed with chaining 2. So that's 1, 2. And then you are going to go back into that very first space, your very first stitch, and you're going to place 5 single crochet into that same space. So after you have finished your total of 5, let's count backwards to ensure we have 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to go into that 5th space, which was the first single crochet that you placed into that first stitch. So you're going to go back into that. So this part, you may have to wiggle it around in there a little bit. So once you get into that space, you're going to pull this tail to the front, just so you can make sure that you are crocheting on top of it so that you can hide it. So you're going to be placing 3 single crochet into each of the 5 stitches that you have. So I am currently entering the first single crochet that I had, and you're going to be placing a total of 3 single crochet into each of your crochets around. So that will leave you with a total of 15. So for that very first space here, I placed my 3 single crochet. For my next space is going to get 3. For my next space is going to get 3. For my next space is going to get 3. And so the total that you should have around should be 15. Okay guys, so I have placed my 3 single crochet into my last single crochet. So let's count backwards to ensure we have a total of 15 within this round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect. Now, if your little hole in the center here is more wider, then just pull your tail as tight as you need to, and that'll help to close up that hole in the center. My hole is pretty tiny in there, so I don't mind it. Now we are going to continue with chain of 6. So let's chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are going to slip stitch into your next stitch. We're working back down, so slip stitch. And then you're going to do a single crochet in the next space. Then you're going to do a half double crochet in the next space. Then you're going to do a double crochet in the next space. And then you're going to do a treble in that very last space of your chain 6. Okay, so we're going to skip 2. This space is occupied, so we're going to skip these 2 here. So that's skipping 1, 2, and we're going to go into our third stitch with a single crochet. So that secures your first point of your star. Of course, the star has 5 points. So you're going to chain 6 again. 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch. You're going to put a single crochet into the next stitch. You're going to put a half, oop, 1 second. Let's make sure that I didn't double do that. Okay. So as I was stating, after you do your slip stitch, you're going to do a regular single crochet, and then you're going to do a half double crochet, and then you're going to do a double crochet, and then you're going to do a treble. Okay, and like before, this is occupied. You're going to skip 2, so that's skipping 1, 2, and go into your third with a single crochet. You're going to repeat this process until you are on your last point of your star, and I'm going to come back to show you guys how to finish up this star. Okay, so once you are on your last point of your star, again, this is occupied, so you're going to skip these 2 here. So that's skipping 1, 2, and going into your third. And you are going to go into this one and then do a slip stitch. So once you go into it, you just want to do a slip stitch. You want to pull tight. Some people chain 1, I chain 2, just for extra security. Pull tight. And I'm going to cut my work. And there you have it. You have your star. Now there is a tail here that you can weave here, and that hides it. You can use a smaller crochet hook to get a smaller star, or a larger crochet hook to get a larger star, but this is how your star will come out. And remember, again, as I stated before, that based on the top that you've seen at the beginning of this video, you will actually be using the color white for your stars. This was just a tutorial for me to show you how to make the star. Now let's get into the rest of this tutorial. So I want to do a little explaining here. I will be making this top to fit a medium because I am a medium, and I am totally wearing this top on Memorial Day. And for Veterans Day, and likely for July 4th as well. So I measured my under bust area, and I got a total of 32 inches. I divided 32 inches by 2 to get a front and a back, and that left me with 16 inches. From crocheting over the years, I've learned that 4 stitches when using a weight for yarn equals to 1 inch. So I multiplied my 16 inches by 4 and I got a total of 64. So I will be making a total of 64 rows to cover my front portion of my body. Now let's get into it. So you can use that math and apply it to your inches for your body. But I wanted to give you guys a little background on that. So I'm going to be starting off with using my blue yarn, but I will be switching over to red yarn, okay? So let me get into that a little bit more. So I am going to be doing a total of 64 rows. And because of how you guys see the top, we're going to have to stop in the middle of this waist band or underbust band that we're creating. We're going to have to stop in the middle of it and transition over to the color red so that we can be doing the American flag on one side and the solid blue on the other side. So that means when we get to our row 31 and we complete row 31, starting row 32, you are going to be switching to the color red, okay? Because 64 divided by 2 is 32. 64 divided by 2 is 32, okay? So it's a lot of math with crocheting, you guys. So let's go ahead and get started on how I will be doing my underbust band. Can't quite call it a waistband because it's not that low. So you are going to chain a total of 12. You need to make sure however many chains you decide to do for the underbust band that it is an odd number, because I'm going to explain. So let's start off with chaining a total of 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have chained my total of 12 and I'm going to add one more chain. So that really gives me 13. But because we're going to be going back into that previous stitch with a single crochet, you guys know once you do that, then the number of total stitches across, once you go back across, it's actually going to be 12. So that's why you want to make sure you have an odd number so that when you come back across this way, it is really an even number, which is going to be a total of 12 across. So you're going to place one single crochet into every single stitch. And once you get back to the beginning of your row, you should have a total of 12 stitches. Okay, so I have single crocheted all the way back to my starting point, and I have a total of 12 stitches. So now we are at an even number, which is what you should have. So you are just going to chain up one, and this part is going to be fairly easy. Turn your work, and you're going to go into that front loop only. So from here on, each time you work all the way down and chain one and turn your work, you're going to only be going into your front loop, okay? So as I stated before, I am going to continue this pattern until I have completed my row 31. And at the beginning of my row 32, I will be with the color red. So I would have did a color change for the color red beginning my row 32. So I'm going to meet you guys back when I have completed all 64 rows, and we will get to the next task of business, okay? Okay guys, we are back. So I have did my total of 64 rows, also 64 stitches. This is going to be used interchangeably. So I have a total of 64 rows, which I was speaking on. And remember I said once you finish the end of your 31st row, then you will start your color change to red for the remainder of the other 32 rows. So I made sure I got 32 on this side and 32 on this side. Now what we are going to do is, so I am at the end, so I'm at the end of my 32nd row here, and I'm going to go ahead and do a color change right here. So I'm going to do a color change to white and I'll be back. So I've went ahead and connected my white. So I'm going to explain to you guys what we're going to do next. So we're going to be doing 2 rows of single crochet before we get into our individual sides, okay? So you are going to chain 1 and place 1 single crochet into every single stitch, and that should give you a total of 64 single crochet 64 single crochet, okay, across. Now keep in mind you are still going to be doing your color changes, because this side of our top is going to be the American flag side, where the colors alternate between white and red, white and red, white and red, white and red. And this side is going to remain a solid blue. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. And I'm going to go ahead and proceed to place 1 single crochet into each stitch. So starting at this very last row. Okay, so just to show you guys what I'm talking about. So if you were to count this, let's count this together so you guys can know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Okay, so you see how that's a total of 32. Now we are working ourselves onto this side. So now I'm going to do a color change and work the rest of my 32 in the color blue. I'm then going to be chaining 1, and then I'm going to turn my work and work 32 again in the color blue, and then do a color change back to white and work the remainder 32. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay guys, so I am at the end of my second row of single crochet, and I just want to show you guys how it is looking. So this is the back, so, and this is the front. So as you can see, we're starting our red and white over on this side, and we're keeping this side solid. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn my work. So from this point, we are just going to be working on this side of our panel, which is the right side of our panel. We are no longer going to be working all the way across. Everything that we're doing now is going to just apply to this side of our panel. So we already have 2 rows that are in white. So we're going to be working our next 4 rows in white. So we're going to alternate. Every 6 rows is going to be white. Every 6 rows is going to be red. Every 6 rows is going to be white. Every 6 rows is going to be red. We're just going to keep switching it back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to work my next, okay, so keep in mind 6 rows white, 6 rows red, 6 rows white, 6 rows red, right? Okay, keep that in mind. Now, this is another element to what we are doing. So we are going to do a total of 6 rows without doing any decreasing or increasing. So that means we're going to be going into every single stitch. So that's 32 stitches. So you're going to place one single crochet into 32 stitches, chain one single crochet into 32 stitches, chain one, turn your work, keep repeating back and forth, going back and forth. We're going to continue doing that for the next 6 rows, okay? So these do not count. And what I am, guys, so I am back really quickly just to explain to you guys what has happened so far. So remember I told you that for a total of 6 rows, we were going to remain in white, and that we were going to be alternating 6 rows white, 6 rows red, 6 rows white, 6 rows red. So I did my 6 rows and of white. Now I am starting my 6 rows of red. And remember, simultaneously I told you that we were, for the next thing involving this side, as far as where we're going to do our first decrease, I told you that we were going to go up 6 rows and then we were going to start our decreasing. But within those 6 rows, we were not counting the ones that were a part of our single crochet. So these first 2 rows were not counted when it comes to when we're going to start our decrease. So I'm going to count just to make sure. So this is our first 2. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have done a total of 6 rows, not counting these, which means it is time for us to do a decrease when we get back on this side. So I have already chained one, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into every single stitch until I have 2 remaining stitches left, and I'm going to show you how you're going to go by doing a decrease, okay? So I currently have 2 left, and I'm going to go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, then I'm going to go into that last stitch and pull up a loop. I have 3 on my hook, and then I'm going to pull through all 3, so that did a decrease. Okay, so and that row that you just did a decrease on was the 7th row. So again, that's not counting these first 2 that is a part of your chain of, your row of 64 single crochet across. We're just talking about the portion of the bralette, of the booby portion of it. So starting here, this row here, let me make sure you guys can see it a little better. So starting this row here, if we were count up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that 7th row is the row that you're doing your decrease. So from this point forward, oh, and also, so this is 1, 2, 3. So you currently have 3 rows of red. So from this point forward, it should be a little more self-explanatory, but I'm going to walk you guys through it one more time. So remember, for 6 rows, you are doing red, 6 rows you are doing white, 6 rows you are doing red. You're going to keep doing it until this measures long enough to cover your boobie up to where your shoulder is, okay? For me, that is 12.5 inches. So that's how far I'm going to keep going on. For you, it's going to differ. So just measure yourself and continue until you don't need any more. So as I was stating, we currently have 3 rows of red. So you know we're going to be doing 3 more rows of red before we switch to white. But also in that same breath, now we know that this row marks our 7th row, and that's a decrease row. So every 7th row, you're going to do a decrease. You see how that works? So you're going to keep in mind of your color changing, 6 rows of the same color, then color change. But simultaneously, you're also going to keep in mind that every 7th row, you're going to do a decrease. So I hope that makes sense. I'll have it written on the screen so that it can, better resonate with some of you guys. But I'm sure a lot of you guys understand it. You guys are awesome. So I know you guys are grasping that. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working up. And I'm going to check back in with you guys once I have completed my panel. And I'll be back. Alright guys, so I have completed this side of my panel. I ended up doing a total of 57 rows, and that is counting from only the portion of the boobie. I did not include these rows, rows of single crochet inside of those. These two, I did not include it inside of those 57. So when I say 57, I mean only the boobie portion of the boobie to shoulder portion of the top. So I'm going to insert my hook on this side of my work, and I'm just going to repeat everything that I did for this side on this side, except there will be no color changes. So still, once you reach your 7th row, you will do a decrease, and every 7th row will result in a decrease, and you should end up with the same thing for this side as you did on this side. Again, just no color changes. This side will be a solid blue. Okay. Okay guys, so I have finished up both of my panels. Now we're going to start with our back panel. Now you can make the choice to go ahead and attach your stars now, but I'm going to go ahead and work on my back panel, and then after I've completed my back panel, then I'll worry about attaching my stars. So for your back panel, it's going to be very easy, very, very easy. This may be the easiest part of this entire top. So of course, we did a total of 64 rows. So the same underbust band that you created and how you created it, meaning how you chained 13 and single crocheted back down into each of the remaining 12 stitches, chained 1, turn your work. So if you need a reminder, just rewind this video to the part where we were creating this band. So you're going to go ahead and create your band, and make sure you do a total of 64 rows. And we did a total of 64 rows across with our band, and a total of 57 rows of our boobie area. So you are going to do the same thing with your back panel. You're going to make a band of 64 rows, and then you are going to, similarly how we did the 2 rows of single crochet of 64 single crochet across our band, the first 2 rows, you're going to also do that for your back panel, for the band of your back panel, and then you're going to continue with making a total of 57 rows. So hi guys, so welcome back. I have completed a total of 59 total rows. So that 59 number is including our first 2 rows of single crochets plus our 57 rows. So 57 plus 2 is 59. So that makes for a total of 59 rows. Now I am going to grab my other piece, and make sure when you do this part that your piece is on this side, meaning your red, white, and blue part of your outfit should be on the left side. So when we go to stitch this together, we will just be flipping it. And when you flip it, that means your blue will be on the correct side and your red, white, and blue will be on the correct side. So on the end of my row 59, you're just going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to slip stitch into the top, going, pulling through both sides, slip stitch this to your back panel. You're going to slip stitch, and then you're going to continue slip stitching all the way across until you reach the point of when it's time to slip stitch this side of your panel, and you're going to continue slip stitching all the way across, and then you're going to chain 2 and cut your work, and that will count as your this side. I'm also going to keep my project on this side of my work, so the same side where you see that raised area where you slip stitched at, you're just going to go down to each side of your work, and you're going to enter your hook and slip stitch up, leaving only space here for your arm. So you can measure the circumference of your arm, and whatever that is, you should leave that much open for your arm to go through it, okay? So whatever you do on this side, you're also going to do it on this side, and I will be back. Okay guys, so I measured the circumference of my arm, and it is 14 inches. So because of that, I'm going to leave 7.5. Okay, let's measure this. It should be 7.5. So I'm going to leave 7.5 worth of space for both sides, which gives a total of 15. So when I put this around my arm, I have just a bit of, not to be too snug. So whatever your circumference of your arm is, you will do the same thing. And then I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to place 1 single crochet into every single space around the entire thing until I get back to this point. So I have chained 1. And again, after once you reach however much desired room you need for your arm circumference, you are going to chain 1. Remember, we were slip stitching. You're going to chain 1 and place 1 single crochet into each one. And once you get back to this point, you're going to continue working in rounds. You can make your sleeve as long as you'd like, but I'm just going to make my sleeve maybe about 1 inch or 2 inches. It's not going to be a long sleeve at all because I want most of my arm to show. It is pretty warm here, so I don't want a long sleeve at all. So I'm going to work this, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys how that looks for me. So I ended up doing a total of 4 rows in single crochet for the sleeve area because 4 rows equaled out to 1 inch. And you're going to do the same thing that you do on this side to your other side. Okay guys, so I went ahead and I finished up both of my little sleeves. Again, if you want, you can continue your sleeve and make sure you decrease within the round to get them more narrow and more tighter, but I'm choosing very short sleeves because I want my arms to be out. Again, it's very hot where I live at. So once you have completed your sleeves, weaved in all of your ends, then you are going to now, with the stars that you made, the 6 stars that you made, you can place them however you would like to place them, but you're going to place your stars on your blue side and you're going to attach them. So you can do this with a sewing machine, you can do this hand sewing, you can do this whatever way, but you want to make sure you attach all of your stars to the blue side of your top. So I am going to do that, and then I'm going to come back to show you guys the final look, and that will complete our video. So I will be back. Alright guys, and that completes your top. You have officially attached your stars, so your top is complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this tutorial, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and give me a subscribe. And leave a comment down below on where would you wear this top to and who would you make it for. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.